Hey folks, my name is Mo Amir and this is VANCOLOUR, British Columbia's bona fide culture and politics TV talk show. It's our season finale, and as you can see, I'm in vacation mode already. And we're gonna light it up tonight. My buddies Tamara Taggart and Kyla Lee will be here to air their grievances. But first, let's talk to the most famous teaching assistant in the country, a part-time education assistant at a Port Coquitlam secondary school. She made headlines when the Coquitlam School District found out about her OnlyFans account, which she, as a single mom, uses to supplement her income. The Coquitlam School District told her to shut down her off-duty side hustle or else face disciplinary action, including possible termination. School's out for summer, so let's find out exactly what happened. A big welcome to Kristin MacDonald. Kristin, a pleasure to have you on tonight.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. So I want to make things really clear. When you were an education assistant,
Yes.
or are an education assistant, you kept that life very separate from your modeling or OnlyFans life as well.
Yes,
So
I did.
Kristin MacDonald, you the person, was separate
Yes.
from Ava James, right?
That's correct.
How did the Coquitlam School District find out about these two personas? Or I guess the second persona, really.
Yeah, the second persona. As far as I know, there was a student that came across a TikTok that I had done. That Ava, she wears bikinis in her TikToks. I guess it was offensive to the student or whomever came across it.
But it wasn't, I mean, that's not really porn, right? That's
Oh God, no. And you know what? There was really not a lot of sexuality in the nature of the TikTok. It was just that I was not wearing regular street clothes.
Right.
I was wearing a bikini.
And so the last that we've kind of left off your story was that the school district gave you an ultimatum. They said, you got to shut everything down or else you're going to be fired. The school year's over now. What has happened? Has there been any status update?
You know, I went through the investigation process with the district, which was like three days, basically, a very long process. So we got through that. And actually, I was terminated recently.
Oh, I'm very sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
What is the actual reasoning that they gave you for termination?
Well, it's quite a long letter.
Okay.
And it goes over multiple areas. You know, obviously they found my side hustle. They found
Sure.
it. Yeah. They found it to be inappropriate.
But that side hustle also is largely paywalled, right? So to
Yes.
gain access,
100%.
you have to be a paid subscriber.
And you also have to be 18.
Okay. And anything in your termination about your actual job performance as an education assistant?
No.
Okay. So just to be clear, in an environment where we are short of teachers and education assistants, they wanted to let you go because they found what you do on your own time to be offensive.
Correct.
To no effect to the actual students that you are
Correct.
interacting with.
It's quite interesting to me. They found the schoolgirl outfit. There's a Instagram picture that I have, and I'm dressed in a schoolgirl outfit, eating an apple on a desk. They found that outfit and the picture highly offensive and said that I was, I guess, you know, merging my two lives together by...
That's what they used as like...
That came up a lot in the termination papers. And I was like, I don't see the connection, but you know.
Were they aware that like we have a prime minister who was a teacher who wore blackface and is still
You know, it's so funny. I made an Instagram post about that recently.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, I did, and it had the picture of me in the schoolgirl outfit that everybody found so offensive, and I made that comment. Yeah, it's just absurd to me, you know, especially because we make such a low wage. You know, you can't survive on it. I don't know. You and I were chatting right before we got on here, and I said, you know, it's fine if you disagree with me.
Yeah.
You don't need to agree with what I'm doing, but it doesn't mean that I deserve to lose my job over it.
And let's talk about that impact that you've faced personally.
Yeah.
I'm not, I'm not experienced with this, but I've heard that the Facebook parent groups can be really nasty and mean. You're a mom, you have a kid in school. You know, has this affected you personally as Kristin MacDonald? Aside from losing your job?
Well, yeah, there's that. You know, I mean, certainly there have been people that disagree with my decision making, and that's fine. I feel that I'm a strong enough person to deal with the consequences of going public with my story.
Mm-hmm.
And there is consequences, and by no means am I trying to play the victim. I realize that I'm drawing attention and that, a lot of people will disagree with me. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's more about the fact that I shouldn't be losing my job.
Right.
It's like, you can disagree with me till the cows come home, but
yeah, you're not losing your job based on
I'm not
poor
doing
job
anything.
performance.
Yeah, I'm not
illegal.
doing anything illegal. I'm not hurting anybody.
Ultimately, is this, when we zoom out a little bit and look at your story, is this a labor rights issue, or is this an issue more about the stigma that we place on sex work?
Yeah, I think that it's certainly a labor rights issue. I believe that it is a stigma. It's about the stigma of sex work. And I also think it's about women's rights.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I pointed out in an investigation meeting, I said, okay, well, if I'm going to lose my job for having a content creator OnlyFans account, are you going to be terminating all the male colleagues that have a subscriber OnlyFans account?
Sure. Yeah. They're engaging in that element of sex work, right? As the consumer.
Yeah. And the reality is, if there wasn't the market to sell this stuff, we wouldn't be doing it. Right. And the response was, well, don't you think it's different to watch the video versus be in it? And I really thought about that. And I think that, I really do think that it's not fair. I think
mm-hmm.
it's very one-sided. And, I think the stigma and where that comment came from, for a long time, pornography, women were exploited by men.
mm-hmm.
The men really benefited from the big name magazines. Now you have OnlyFans that is really putting women in the forefront and putting them in power, in control of what we produce,
right,
as far as content goes. And it being lucrative to the woman, to
mm-hmm.
the one who's actually putting that content out there. So I think a lot of the stigma comes from that. But certainly I do see the hypocrisy, and the misogyny that still exists, in my opinion.
Big time. Kristin, I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you so much. Thanks for sharing your story. And
yeah,
I'm sorry to hear you lost your job, but hopefully there's something brighter on the horizon for you.
I think there will be.
I hope so.
Yes.
Folks, I think we can all agree that we need to support our educators and support staff. And I think our guest's experience highlights that need. So grateful that she shared her story. She is Kristin MacDonald. Now, after some business, Tamara Taggart and Kyla Lee have been amazing contributors to the show all season. They'll be here together, and they've got complaints, and I can't wait. That's up next.